And I believe we are live. It's always weird when I go live after a while. I never know if it's working or not. I also can't see a chat box. YouTube's done some weird update. Anyway, I'm going to assume I've got red little lights telling me that I'm live, so I'm going to assume that we're live. Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel. Apologies, it's been a while. I last updated on the 7th of September. So yeah, I've pretty much missed 2 weeks, pretty much. No apologies. I've just been busy with numerous other things. And unfortunately, when busy Dave happens, this stuff has to take a bit of a back seat, unfortunately. However, anyway, we're back. We're live. It's Friday. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope you had a fantastic week. And as you can probably tell from the title, in today's episode, I want to talk to you about follow your head or your heart as an entrepreneur. Now, this is a question which I've got asked this week. And it's interesting because I've seen a change within myself, whether it's sort of a semi-midlife crisis at the age of 30, where previously, as being younger and being, I guess, headstrong and everything else that goes along with that, I have always said that the vast majority of decisions in business, especially, come down to your head. Usually it would be a yes or no with the facts that you have available to you. Do you do this or do you do something else? That is often the easiest way I can explain it, is that you would have an instinct internally that would tell you whether sorry, no, not an instinct. You would not have an instinct. You would have the facts available, or you'd have what's the word? You'd have I can't think of how to describe this. You would have the facts, basically, in order to make a decision. And if you didn't have facts, you would have your best guess, which you would base on some sort of preconceived thought or notion or whatever it may be. And that would be traditionally how I would recommend that you run a business. If you have the facts available, you have numbers and stats that say, for example, in e-commerce business, that yes, these socks with a cute dog's face on them are selling really well. Let's order more of them because the numbers say that they're selling well. That would be a purely head decision. But let's take it back to that initial idea of these socks. It's like there would have been a point where you did not have the facts to go off. You did not have the information available to you that this was even an idea, that this, unless you had seen a competitor doing it, in which case chances are you've missed a boat. You're not going to be the biggest, baddest dog in the yard because someone else already has that jump on you, unless you can add value. So that's where the heart comes in. And this is something which I've been thinking about a lot, like I said, ever since I hit 30 the other day. Is I see myself now making more decisions on an intuition basis rather than on a logical mind basis, if that makes sense. Like, there's a number of things that in the first business that I started, which if we'd have just followed the money or followed what we figured would make us most successful, we would have done things quite differently. Myself and Matt, who again you've met, we would have built our business in a different way. We would have founded everything on logic and how do we make more money? How do we milk the system for as much as we can? And I'll be honest, and like I said, this was the first, back when I was 25. I was totally in that mindset. I was like, yes, let's make money, let's make a business, let's be uber successful and blah, blah, blah. And I remember the first time that the business started making money, and I said I was the finance guy. I was looking after the marketing and ultimately the finances. I said to Matt, "Oh, Matt, we've got X amount in the bank account," and he went, "Yeah, that's great, but don't get excited because that's going straight back into the business. We need to hire a team." And it was at that moment where I realized that shit, part of me was like, "Yeah, money's good. Let's have money." Because this, again, when we built the first business, we didn't take anything out of the business for about 18 months. So of course, the prospect of all that hard work and having something to start showing for it was attractive. But Matt was absolutely right. The best decision that we ever made was plowing that money back into the business, hiring Adrian, our first team member, and he allowed us to scale in a way which was incredible. Certainly 10x our productivity, our output, and because of that, that's all thanks to Matt. That was all thanks to Matt's decision, because he knew he had done this before, and that was always the lesson he learned. Is like, I'm not going to be a superhero. I'm going to build a team if I ever build another business, and that's what happened. So I look back now and I think, well, after everything that I learned in creating the businesses that I've been involved with, it is genuinely a mix. Sometimes you need to lead with your head. You need to lead with the facts and the figures and what makes most sense in your business. Nobody should know your business better than you. And there's going to be times when decisions have to be made that pertain to usually something along the lines of structure or financially, or basically the core elements of the management, the running of a business. Processes and all that sort of thing, efficiency, is all largely going to boil down to facts and figures and numbers, and that is where the head comes in. However, heart is something which I'm doing my best to learn to utilize more, because there's certain instances in life and in business where all of a sudden your heart is telling you something very different to what the facts and figures are saying. And I guess a lot of people call this an intuition, or you have a gut feeling, and that is ultimately what the heart is. And the best way I can describe it is, no matter if you're looking at the facts and figures and you're trying to decide an angle to take in your business, but something doesn't feel right, don't ignore that feeling. Try and capture it. Try and figure out what that feeling is. What is making this situation uneasy for you? And it's usually a good warning system. It's almost like the subconscious somewhere inside you is saying you're missing something. There's a part of the puzzle that you are missing. Hold off a minute. And it's very hard for me to explain this to you. I'm by no means an expert in any of this. I'm merely trying to answer a question, which is, should you follow your head or your heart as an entrepreneur? For me, the answer is both. And if you asked me 5 or 6 years ago, my answer probably would have been your head. And now, from what I've learned over the past 5 or 6 years, I would say don't ignore the heart. Don't ignore that gut feeling. Don't ignore that intuition, because there's times when my head would have definitely said no to things, but something made me say yes. And those opportunities that arise from doing that are incredible. And that's when the exciting stuff can happen. A great example of that is the bike ride with John across Portugal. My head should have screamed, no, you do not have any business cycling 150 odd miles across Portugal on a bike when you've never ridden a bike in at least 3 years. You are not cardio fit. That would be a ridiculous thing to sign up to. And yet my heart said, yes, do it. It will be a great thing. We raised £1,300 for charity, and we have memories that will last forever. So I know that's not really a business example, but that's the best example I can come up with off my head. So my advice to you, if you're watching this and you're young, especially if you're just starting out in business, don't ignore your heart. In fact, I would say the quicker that you can learn to listen to it and realize that it can be a powerful messenger system or an alert system in your mind, in your body, pay attention to it. Granted, there's going to be times when the head and the heart may collide, and I can't help you on that because that's going to come down to a super specific decision with many variables. I couldn't even guess what they would be, but pay attention. Don't just be like I was and be so like gung-ho, facts, head is always right, what makes most sense, the odds, percentages, all that. Don't do that. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut instinct, because that is where you potentially miss things. So this was quite a deep one for Friday. I do apologize. I'm going to end it there, though. This was just a quick video on a topic which I was provided with to talk about, and I wanted to share my experiences with it. So if you've enjoyed this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories. Have you ever had an impact where the head and the heart have collided? Have you wished that you took one route instead of another? Let me know in the comment section down below. I genuinely would love to hear of your experiences or any stories that you would be willing to share. And whilst you're down there, why not hit the subscribe button and the like button? They're totally free of charge, and makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, because Instagram and, social media, it's all about numbers these days, isn't it? It's, who are you if you're not getting likes and follows? Just a nobody. I'm joking, obviously, but yeah, no, it lets me know that you enjoyed the content, and then I can do either more of it or less of it accordingly. With that said, I'll stop waffling. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend. There's lots of stuff kicking off in e-commerce land this week. So next week, I'm expecting to get some videos out, especially around what Amazon are up to once again. They've just released like 8 new products. So that's going to be an interesting discussion. But more on that next week. So have a fantastic time. Whatever it is that you're getting up to this weekend, enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'll see you then.